You have been wasting money every single spring, and the worst part is you probably do not even know it. Every year, millions of gardeners drop hundreds of dollars on annuals that look stunning in May and are dead by October, then do it all over again the following year. It is an exhausting, expensive cycle, but you do not have to keep playing that game. There is a smarter, more beautiful, and more satisfying way to fill your garden with breathtaking blooms, and it starts with one simple decision: planting perennials that return year after year, stronger and more spectacular every single season. Today you are going to learn about 9 long-lasting perennials that you plant once and enjoy for years, sometimes even decades, without ever reaching for your wallet again. These are not just pretty faces. These are workhorses, ecological powerhouses, and garden anchors that will transform the way you think about your outdoor space. And stay with me, because the plant I reveal at number 6 has a quality that surprises almost every gardener who hears it for the first time. It changed how I design entire garden beds, and it will change how you do too. Number 1, Black-Eyed Susan. If there is one perennial that every gardener in North America should have in their yard without question, it is the Black-Eyed Susan. Picture this: waves of golden yellow daisy-like flowers, each one centered with a rich, velvety dark brown button, swaying in a late summer breeze while monarch butterflies and bumblebees cover every bloom in sight. This is not a subtle plant. This is a declaration. Black-Eyed Susans bloom from June all the way through October, giving you one of the longest flowering windows of any perennial on this list. They thrive in full sun, needing at least 6 hours of direct light daily, and they prefer well-drained soil with a pH between 6.0 and 7.0. They are incredibly drought-tolerant once established, which means you are not babysitting them through every dry spell. USDA zones 3 through 9 can grow them reliably. Plants reach 18 to 36 inches tall and spread 18 to 24 inches wide. What most gardeners do not realize is that if you leave the seed head standing through winter, goldfinches will visit your garden daily to feed on them, turning your yard into a wildlife sanctuary. The single biggest mistake gardeners make with Black-Eyed Susans is deadheading too aggressively. When you remove every spent bloom, you rob the plant of its ability to self-seed and rob the birds of their winter food source. Deadhead selectively in early summer to encourage reblooming, but let the late-season head stand. Black-Eyed Susans are the golden anchor every perennial garden deserves. Number 2, Coneflower. Coneflowers are one of those plants that looks like it belongs on the cover of a gardening magazine, and yet it is one of the most forgiving, low-maintenance perennials you will ever grow. The flowers are extraordinarily large, rose-purple petals that sweep back from a raised, spiky copper-orange center cone that practically glows in afternoon sunlight. Bees cannot resist them. Neither can butterflies, particularly swallowtails and painted ladies. And when the petals fall and the cones mature into dark seed heads in autumn, the goldfinches return again like clockwork. Echinacea wants full sun to partial shade, with at least 4 to 6 hours of light per day. It thrives in average to lean, well-drained soil with a pH of 6.0 to 7.0, and here is something most gardeners get completely wrong: they over-fertilize it. Coneflower actually performs better in poorer soils. When you feed it too heavily, you get lush, floppy stems and fewer flowers. Plant it in zones 3 through 9, where it will reach 24 to 48 inches tall and spread 18 to 24 inches wide. Blooms arrive from June through August. The benefit most people overlook is that established clumps can persist for 10 to 15 years with virtually no intervention, and they naturalize beautifully, slowly spreading to fill gaps in your border in the most organic, intentional-looking way possible. Do not plant coneflowers in heavy clay without amending the drainage first. That is the one condition that will shorten their life significantly. Solve that problem, and you have one of the most spectacular and enduring investments your garden will ever make. Number 3, Salvia. There is a reason professional garden designers reach for Salvia nemorosa over and over again when they need vertical structure, long bloom time, and effortless maintenance all in one package. The flower spikes are electric dense columns of deep violet-purple rising above soft, aromatic gray-green foliage in a display that goes on for months. And when you cut them back after the first flush of bloom in late spring, they come back with a second wave in late summer that is nearly as strong as the first. You are essentially getting two full performances from one plant in a single season. Salvia nemorosa grows best in full sun and well-drained soil, tolerating drought with remarkable grace once established. It prefers a soil pH between 6.0 and 7.0 and is reliably hardy in zones 4 through 9, reaching 18 to 24 inches tall with a similar spread. The pollinator value is extraordinary. Every species of bee in your region will find these plants, and hummingbirds are utterly drawn to the tubular florets. What most gardeners do not realize is that this plant's aromatic foliage is intensely deer-resistant, making it an ideal choice for gardens in rural areas where deer pressure destroys everything else. The biggest mistake is neglecting to cut it back hard after the first bloom flush. Do not be timid. Cut the entire plant back by 1/3 to 1/2 and watch it explode again in August with fresh color. Salvia is quite confident in plant form. Number 4, catmint. If you have a sunny, dry border that is driving you absolutely mad because nothing seems to thrive there, catmint is the answer you have been looking for. This plant is practically indestructible. It billows, and that is the only word that does it justice. It billows into loose, fragrant mounds covered in hundreds of tiny lavender blue flowers from May through July, and then again from August through September after a midsummer cutback. The soft blue-gray foliage is as beautiful as the flowers, giving the plant a luminous, hazy quality in the garden that makes every neighboring plant look better by contrast. Catmint demands full sun and extremely well-drained soil, performing best at a pH of 6.0 to 7.0. It is remarkably drought-tolerant and actually suffers in overly moist or rich soils. USDA zones 3 through 8 can grow it with ease, and plants reach 18 to 24 inches tall and 24 to 36 inches wide, making them exceptional as an edging plant along pathways where their fragrance will drift up as you walk past. Bees absolutely swarm. Studies have shown catmint is among the top 5 plants for supporting native bee populations in temperate gardens. The single biggest mistake gardeners make is not cutting it back mid-season. After the first flush, take shears and cut the whole plant back by half. What happens next surprises almost everyone. Within 3 weeks, fresh new growth emerges and the plant blooms again as if spring had arrived a second time. Number 5, Astilbe. Astilbe is the shade garden's answer to everything, a plant so feathery and opulent in bloom that it looks almost unreal. The flower plumes rise in shades of white, cream, pale pink, hot pink, red, and deep burgundy, reaching upward in airy, feather-soft spires above deeply cut, glossy green foliage that remains attractive even when the plant is not in bloom. Astilbe thrives in partial to full shade 2 to 4 hours of dappled or direct light, and it loves consistently moist, rich, humus-rich soil with a pH of 6.0 to 8.0. Unlike most plants on this list, Astilbe does not tolerate drought, so water regularly, especially in the first season. It is reliable in USDA zones 3 through 8, growing 18 to 48 inches tall depending on variety and spreading 18 to 36 inches wide, with blooms appearing from June through August. The biggest mistake is planting Astilbe in too much sun beyond 4 to 5 hours of direct light. The foliage scorches and the plant struggles badly. Give it the shade it craves, keep the soil moist, and Astilbe will reward you with one of the most luxurious displays your garden has ever produced. And if you are not subscribed yet, I want to pause right here and ask you something genuinely. Where else are you finding this level of specific, zone-by-zone, soil pH level perennial guidance completely for free? Every plant on this list has been chosen because it delivers years, sometimes decades of real garden value. If you want to keep learning how to garden smarter, not harder, hit that subscribe button right now. It costs you nothing and it means everything. Number 6, Russian Sage. Here it is. The one I told you about at the beginning. Russian sage is the plant that changes everything, and the reason it surprises so many gardeners is this: it looks impossibly delicate silvery white stems, finely cut gray-green aromatic leaves, and tiny tubular lavender blue flowers arranged in long, hazy panicles that create a cloud of color from July all the way through September, and yet it is one of the toughest, most drought-resistant, deer-proof, pollinator magnet plants in the entire perennial world. Poor, dry, even gravelly soil. Russian sage is happier for it. Blazing hot sun all day. It wants that. Weeks without rain. It barely notices. Russian sage needs full sun and extremely well-drained, lean soil with a pH of 6.0 to 8.0. It is reliably hardy in zones 5 through 9, reaching 3 to 5 feet tall and 3 to 4 feet wide. Bees cover it every single day of bloom, and hummingbirds visit regularly. The biggest mistake, and this is critical, is cutting it all the way to the ground in autumn. Do not do that. Leave the woody stem standing through winter to protect the crown from freeze damage, then cut back to about 12 inches in early spring when you see the first signs of new growth emerging from the base. That is where most people go wrong, and now you know better. Number 7, Daylily. Do not let the name fool you. Yes, each individual daylily flower lasts only a single day, but a well-established clump produces so many buds, dozens on each scape, that it appears to be in continuous bloom for 3 to 5 weeks. And with careful variety selection, you can have daylilies blooming from June through September by choosing early, mid-season, and late varieties together in the same bed. The color range is almost hallucinatory: pure white, palest cream, butter yellow, orange, peach, pink, rose, red, burgundy, deep purple, and extraordinary bicolors and ruffled types that stop people in their tracks. Daylilies are extraordinarily adaptable, growing in full sun to partial shade, in almost any well-drained soil with a pH of 6.0 to 6.5. They are drought-tolerant once established, reliably hardy in zones 3 through 9, and they spread to form dense clumps 18 to 36 inches tall and 24 to 36 inches wide that are completely impenetrable to weeds once mature, which means they are also one of the finest ground cover perennials you can grow. Most gardeners do not realize that dividing daily clumps every 3 to 5 years actually increases flowering dramatically. As clumps mature, the center becomes crowded and the plant blooms less vigorously. Dig the clump in early spring or after bloom in late summer, split it into sections, and replant. What happens next is remarkable. Each division rebounds with incredible vigor, and within 2 seasons, you have multiplied one plant into 5 or 6 full, flowering specimens at zero additional cost. Number 8, Peonies. There is nothing in the perennial garden that has the same impact as a fully open peony. The flowers are enormous, deeply fragrant, and so lushly petaled that they look almost too extravagant to be real. Colors run from pure white to the softest blush pink, coral, hot pink, red, and even near yellow in some modern varieties. The foliage is deep green and architectural, providing structure in the border from spring through fall long after the blooms have faded. And here is what makes peonies truly remarkable: a well-sited peony plant can live for 50 to 100 years. Your grandchildren could be cutting flowers from the same plant you put in the ground today. Peonies need full sun at least 6 hours daily in rich, deep, well-drained soil with a pH of 6.0 to 7.0. They are cold-hardy in zones 3 through 8 and reach 24 to 36 inches tall with a similar spread. Blooms appear in May and June. The mistake that ends peony careers before they begin is planting the crown too deep. The eyes of those red or pink buds at the top of the root mass must be no more than 1 to 2 inches below the soil surface. Plant them deeper than that, and the plant will grow lush, beautiful foliage and refuse to bloom for years. Plant them at the correct depth in a sunny, well-drained spot and give them 3 years to establish, and they will repay you with the most breathtaking display your garden has ever seen. Number 9, Karl Forster Feather Reed Grass. The final plant on this list is not a flower, and that is exactly the point. Karl Forster Feather Reed Grass is the structural backbone that makes every flowering perennial around it look more intentional, more designed, and more beautiful. In late spring, narrow green blades emerge in tidy, upright columns. By June, feathery pinkish-purple flower plumes appear and transform through summer into golden wheat-colored seed heads that catch every breath of wind and every ray of light from June through winter. This plant has 4 seasons of interest. It is extraordinary. Karl Forster grows in full sun to partial shade, in a wide range of soils with a pH of 5.5 to 7.5, and it tolerates both drought and periodic wet conditions better than almost any other ornamental grass. It is hardy in zones 4 through 9 and reaches 4 to 5 feet tall and 18 to 24 inches wide, forming a perfectly upright, non-spreading clump that never becomes invasive, a critically important quality that most ornamental grasses lack. Cut it back to about 4 inches from the ground in late winter before new growth emerges in spring. Leave it standing through the entire winter. The dried stems provide shelter for overwintering beneficial insects and the seed heads feed birds from fall through February. This is where cheap annual grasses fall completely apart, they give you one season and ask for replacement money. Karl Forster gives you decades. You started this video thinking about flowers. But what you have actually been learning about is the investment, the decision to build something in your garden that compounds year after year instead of starting from zero every spring. Every single plant on this list, from the golden abundance of black-eyed Susans to the century-spanning magnificence of Peonies, asks only that you put it in the right place, understand its needs, and resist the one mistake most gardeners make with it. That changes today. If you are just beginning, start with black-eyed Susans and coneflowers. They are forgiving, fast establishing, and immediately rewarding. If you are an experienced gardener ready to elevate your design, Russian sage and Karl Forster feather reed grass used together in a sunny border will create a combination that looks like it was designed by a professional. Every one of these plants will return next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, growing stronger, spreading wider, and asking less and less of you over time. That is the real secret to a beautiful garden. Stop starting over, and start building something that lasts. Plant it once, give it one season to establish, and then step back and watch what your garden becomes.